Yo guys, what's going on? I'm Tim Kelly. This is The Real Sports Talk. Thank you for tuning in. I apologize for the fact that I've been slower on the videos as of recent. I've just been extremely busy with sports, school, everything, living my life at age 17. So I've been busy, still trying. Obviously, I'm still keeping up with sports. I still hear all the news. It's just a matter of the fact that I just haven't had time to really get videos out and make reactions. So I'm going to make a video right now where I react to some of the biggest signings that we've seen in the NFL free agency period thus far. I'm going to begin with one that just broke, and that is Wes Welker is heading to Denver. He will leave the New England Patriots, signs a 2-year, $12 million deal to head off to the Denver Broncos. And I just think that this is a match made in heaven. Tom Brady and him were perfect together, but I think him and Peyton Manning will work out just as well. And I think that they're going to be able to do great things. It was a long run for Wes Welker in New England. And if you go back, not to get too far off track, but if you go back to when Wes Welker joined them in 2007, he joined them when Randy Moss did, when Dante Stallworth did. It was a year where the Patriots uncharacteristically went out and brought in a bunch of big free agents, and they made this small trade for a guy in Wes Welker that was a very good punt returner, was a pretty solid slot receiver, and all these years later, and he's the one that ended up working out the best. Ultimately, I think with his wife talking, with him talking publicly about his contract once, that's just not something the Patriots go for. Ask Deion Branch, ask anyone that's ever talked publicly about a contract. Once you do that, you're pretty much done with the Patriots. So he's done with the Patriots, but he will be heading off to the Denver Broncos. That's a big move for the Broncos. The Patriots are now going to certainly have to look to replace him. I know a lot of people are saying Danny Amendola. I think that could be a nice move. Look, Tom Brady's been successful with Troy Brown. He's been successful with pretty much anyone he's had. But I think at this point in Tom Brady's career, you don't want to leave him without a very good option, so they need to go out and figure something out. I know there's rumors they've been interested in Victor Cruz. I'm not sure if that necessarily will happen, but we'll see. I don't think that the Patriots are going to just let Wes Welker walk and not have a move to counter it. The second big move, another move that I love, is Reggie Bush signs a 4-year deal with the Detroit Lions. Now, I'm not sure I love the number 4, but what Reggie Bush is doing here is Reggie Bush was always a tremendous pass-catching back, which will fit perfect into this offense, the way Javid Best did prior to his concussion problems that looked like they may have ended his career, or at least put a pretty temporary, a very long halt on his career. Reggie Bush should fit in perfect because he has that ability to catch. And the one thing that happened in Miami, while in his second year in Miami, once Philbin took over, he just really fell out of favor. His first year in Miami, he had his best year, really the only year in his career where I've looked at Reggie Bush and said that this guy truly played like a feature back. So add that in, and Matt Stafford is another option here. I like that. It takes a lot of the pressure off Stafford. I think you'll see his interceptions go down this year. Calvin Johnson's numbers may go down, but I think as an overall team, the Lions are going to be a lot more successful having made this move. Is Reggie Bush a superstar running back? No, but he fits the Detroit Lions probably better than any running back in the NFL right now, with the exception of, Adrian Peterson and Arian Foster fit every team, but Reggie Bush, I think, fits in perfectly with what the Lions are trying to do. The third guy that signed, this was yesterday, Mike Wallace signs a 5-year, $65 million deal with the Miami Dolphins. He's already had a press conference. He's talking big. He said that they can challenge the New England Patriots. We'll see what happens there, but he leaves Pittsburgh, which Pittsburgh is fine. They have Brown. They have just a very, very good offense, and they continue to bring in younger guys. Ben Roethlisberger, I think, needs to stay healthier this year, but losing Mike Wallace, I think it became apparent that he was the number 2 option there, or maybe even number 3, that he was not going to be there long term, especially with how much Heath Miller stepped up this year. He was not going to be there long term. So the Dolphins come out and they make a splash, and I got to be honest, 5 years, $65 million with $30 million guaranteed. Now, Mike Wallace is a better receiver than Deshaun Jackson, in my opinion, but throughout their entire careers, they've been compared. Deshaun Jackson comparably got $14 million guaranteed in his long-term deal. Mike Wallace is getting $30. I know the Dolphins felt like they needed to come out and make a splash. They needed to add someone for Ryan Tannehill, and it may very well work out, but I think that they paid him to be a top 5 receiver, and he's not that. You don't see guys, with the exception of maybe Victor Cruz, that play the style or any style similar to how Mike Wallace does. They're top 5 receivers. You see the possession receivers, the Larry Fitzgeralds, the Calvin Johnsons, Andre Johnson when he's healthy, and maybe a few years back at this point. But you see those type of receivers as the number 1 guys, and I'm just not sure that Mike Wallace is the number 1 receiver on a championship team that doesn't feature. I mean, they have a good amount. They got Brian Hartline still. They locked him up. So I'm not saying that this is a bad move. I'm not killing it. But I think that $30 million guaranteed is a lot of pressure on him. Heading down to Miami, taking his talents to South Beach. We will see what happens. The 4th signing was my boy Deshaun Goldson. I interviewed him 2 years ago now, prior to his back-to-back Pro Bowl seasons, and then he was an All-Pro last year, became probably the best safety in the NFL over the last 2 seasons. I like the move. I think the Bucs needed to upgrade their secondary. I don't think there's any question about that, but the thing that I would say about this is not only did Goldson play in a great defensive system for Vic Fangio, but he played with a lot of talent on that defense. Not just Patrick Willis and Navarro Bowman and Justin and Alden Smith. He played in a very good secondary. He played with Dante Whitner, Carlos Rogers. It was a very good secondary. And while I think he'll be successful, he's going to be 29 years old. He is leaving a lot of talent to really, for the first time in his career, not be on his own, but be in a position where he has the most expectations on the entire defense, really. And I think that I'm interested to see how he's going to handle that, how he will perform. I think he'll play at a borderline Pro Bowl level, but will he be an All-Pro again? Most likely not. He's a hard-hitting safety, but he can, as the Falcons showed in the first half of the NFC title game, he can be beaten. I mean, there's no questions about it. And I like Deshaun Goldson. Again, I interviewed him, great guy, but I think out of a lot of these moves, out of all the defensive moves that I've seen so far, this one might have the most potential to be a bust. We'll see. I'm a big supporter of Deshaun Goldson, so I hope I'm wrong, but we'll see what happens. The final 2 moves I want to get to are 2 smaller moves, but they will be guys who are going to be getting big chances. The first one is Shawn Green is leaving the New York Jets. It just nothing really worked out offensively there. He's leaving the Jets, and he will sign with the Titans to be another option with Chris Johnson. Now, Chris Johnson said he's going to break the all-time rushing record, so if the Titans are on board with that, then Shawn Green might not be getting too many carries next year. But if they're on board with winning, Mike Munchak will incorporate Shawn Green, because if you watch this guy all the way back to Iowa, I'm a Big Ten guy, Penn State fan, and I watched Shawn Green tear up Penn State for a few years. I watched early parts of him in the NFL, and you can still see what made him such a special player in college. And I think that Rashard Mendenhall, or not Rashard Mendenhall, I'll get to him in a minute. I think Shawn Green coming into Chris Johnson will be a nice goal line option. It will piss fantasy players off because you're going to lose Chris Johnson's carries on the goal line. But Chris Johnson probably was most successful when he had Lendale White with him. And I think adding in another power option, that should help Chris Johnson, that should help this offense, and I think it should help Shawn Green to be very successful with the Tennessee Titans. The final guy is the aforementioned Rashard Mendenhall, who fell out of favor in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh could not decide on a running back last year, and Rashard Mendenhall really became almost a cancer there. The Cardinals, a couple days ago, they did part ways with Beanie Wells, who just never really worked out, was never able to stay healthy. So they get rid of Beanie Wells. They will bring him in. And there's a ton of Pittsburgh influence in Arizona. There always has been, from Ken Whisenhunt, who just got fired, but now Bruce Arians coming in. Remember, Bruce Arians spent that 1 year as a Colts offensive coordinator / interim head coach. But he was the Steelers' offensive coordinator for a long time prior to that. I think he likes the idea of working with Rashard Mendenhall. I think Rashard Mendenhall is a guy that still has a ton of potential that he has not reached at the NFL level, so we'll see. I don't expect him to become a superstar running back there, but I think for a couple years, can he hold it down? Can he point this team in the right direction and do some good things? I do believe so. So those are the big signings between yesterday and today that I really wanted to get your thoughts on. Leave your thoughts in the comments. I'm going to try and get back on this 30 clubs in 30 days. I've just been so busy, really, honestly. Thank you guys for tuning in. Follow me on Twitter at @CashKelly_TRC. I'll catch you guys next time.